Have you ever looked at a Japanese garden and wondered why everything feels so alive? The vegetables look healthier, the soil seems richer, and somehow the whole space feels calm, balanced, almost effortless. For a long time, I thought great gardening was all about working harder, more digging, more feeding, more fighting pests. But when I started studying Japanese gardening practices, I realized something important. They're not trying to control nature, they're trying to cooperate with it, and that changes everything. Today, I want to share the Japanese gardening ideas that completely changed the way I grow food. These aren't magic tricks, they're simple, intentional habits, practical methods mixed with a different mindset, and together they can transform your garden. At the heart of all of this is one beautiful idea: working with nature, not against it. Instead of treating your garden like a battlefield, you start treating it like a partnership. And once that clicks, gardening gets easier, more productive, and honestly, a lot more enjoyable. 1. Create edges, not empty space. One of the smartest ideas in Japanese growing is designing your garden like an ecosystem, not a flat factory. In nature, the most productive places are often the edges, where one environment meets another. So instead of one big open bed, create layers and transitions. Plant taller crops where they won't shade smaller ones. Add a trellis. Leave a small strip of flowers or wild growth for pollinators and beneficial insects. These little edges bring more life into your garden, and that life helps your vegetables thrive. 2. Use companion plants that actually do something. A great example is shiso, also known as Japanese basil. It has a strong scent that can confuse pests like aphids and mites, and it grows beautifully alongside crops like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. Even if you can't find shiso, the lesson is bigger than one plant. Your garden works better when plants support each other. Don't think of crops as isolated rows. Think of them as neighbors.
3. Cover your soil. Japanese growers have used straw mulch for generations, and honestly, this is one of the most effective techniques you can copy immediately. A thick layer of straw around your plants helps hold moisture, block weeds, regulate temperature, and feed the soil as it breaks down. And the biggest benefit? Healthy soil biology. Pull back that mulch after a few weeks, and you'll usually find darker, softer, more active soil underneath. That's the foundation of a truly productive garden. 4. Feed the soil through fermentation. Most people think compost has to be a big pile you turn for months, but Japanese gardeners often use fermentation-based methods like bokashi, which breaks down kitchen scraps quickly and efficiently. The beauty of this approach is that you're not just throwing waste away, you're turning it into future fertility. 5. Plant by soil temperature, not impatience. This is one of the biggest mistakes many gardeners make, planting because the calendar says it's time. Japanese growers pay closer attention to the soil itself. Warm season crops like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and squash don't care what the date is. They care whether the soil is warm enough to support strong growth. A plant that goes into warm soil a little later often outperforms one that was planted early into cold, stressful conditions. Sometimes patience gives you a faster result. 6. Let plants protect your future crops. Edamame, young soybeans, are a great example. Like other legumes, they work with nitrogen-fixing bacteria in the soil. That means they don't just give you food, they also improve the ground for the crops that come next. This is one of the quiet secrets behind long-term fertility. Every season should prepare the way for the next one. A productive garden isn't built in a day, it's built in layers. 7. Plant closer, but with purpose. Japanese gardeners, especially in small spaces, are masters of intensive planting. Instead of leaving a lot of bare ground between crops, they plant closely enough that mature leaves eventually touch and form a living canopy. That canopy shades the soil, slows evaporation, suppresses weeds, and turns the whole bed into a more stable mini-climate. Of course, you still need airflow, but once you understand the balance, you can grow much more food in the same amount of space. 8. Water in the morning. This sounds simple, but it solves a surprising number of problems. Morning watering gives roots what they need before the heat of the day, while allowing leaves to dry quickly. That means fewer fungal issues, less wasted water, and stronger, less stressed plants. In other words, the timing of watering matters almost as much as the watering itself. 9. Waste less, harvest more. There's a Japanese idea centered around regret over waste, and in the garden, that means using more of what you grow. Too many gardeners harvest the obvious part and ignore the rest. Tomato suckers can become new plants. Carrot tops can be used in the kitchen. Broccoli leaves are edible. Herb stems still carry flavor. Spent plants can become mulch or compost. Once you start looking at your garden this way, abundance increases, not because you planted more, but because you wasted less. 10. Make your own plant-based fertilizer. Another brilliant traditional method is fermented plant juice, basically a homemade liquid feed made from vigorous young plant material and sugar. The idea is simple. Strong, fast-growing plants contain nutrients, enzymes, and microbial life that can be captured and returned to the garden in liquid form. Whether you make it from comfrey, nettles, or other nutrient-rich plants, the principle is powerful. Your garden can help feed itself.
11. Don't rely only on pollinators. In a perfect world, every flower gets visited at the right time. But in reality, heat, wind, rain, low bee activity, or covered plants can all reduce pollination. That's why many careful gardeners hand-pollinate certain crops like squash, cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers. Sometimes the smallest action, a quick shake, a soft brush, a few seconds of attention, can dramatically improve your harvest. 12. Prune with intention. Japanese bonsai culture teaches a useful lesson. Don't prune randomly, prune with purpose. For vegetables, that means improving airflow, directing energy, and shaping healthier growth. Remove lower tomato branches that sit too close to the soil. Pinch early flowers on young pepper plants so they build stronger roots first. Guide cucumbers up trellises and remove excess early growth. Pruning isn't punishment, it's direction. 13. Pay attention to rhythm. Some gardeners follow moon phases, others talk to their plants, some practice gratitude before they begin the day's work. Whether or not every tradition has scientific proof, they all do one important thing. They slow you down. They make you observe. They turn gardening from a task into a relationship. And honestly, better observation alone can change everything. You catch problems sooner, you notice growth sooner, you become a better gardener simply because you're more present. Maybe that's the real secret behind Japanese gardening. It's not just straw mulch, companion plants, fermentation, or spacing. It's attention, respect, patience, gratitude. It's understanding that the garden is not a machine you force into production. It's a living system you learn to work with. So don't try all of this at once. Start with 1 or 2 ideas. Cover your soil, water in the morning, plant with more intention, waste less, observe more. Small changes repeated consistently can completely transform your garden. And maybe, over time, your garden becomes more than just a place to grow food. Maybe it becomes a place that teaches you how to slow down, pay attention, and live a little more in harmony with the world around you. And that might be the most valuable harvest of all.